Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Friday, the 6th of June. With Robert Murray McShane's reading scheme, we read from Deuteronomy 10 and Psalm 94, and there's a link of ideas. In Deuteronomy, Moses, in verse 17, tells the people of Israel, "For the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great God, mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality and accepts no bribes. He defends the cause of the fatherless and the widow, and loves the foreigner residing among you, giving them food and clothing." And so here we have this picture of God who is above everything, the Almighty. And he is a God that has no partiality and accepts no bribes. He's completely even-handed. He's completely just in all he does. And nothing can pervert his justice. He will not accept bribes. And we need to remember that as we worship and pray, there's no ways you can twist God's arm, because God is sovereign and he's in charge. And our prayers, in a sense, have to be aligning us with his will, not trying to make him align with ours. And so we worship this God who is sovereign and who is actually on the side of the fatherless and the widow, those people in society who have no power, who have no agency. God is on their side. And we need to remember that as Christians. And we need to make sure that that is reflected in our lives and our attitudes. And then in Psalm 94, verse 20, the psalmist writes, "Can a corrupt throne be allied with you? A throne that brings on misery by its decrees?" And that is a challenge to so many in the so-called Christian West, and today particularly to America, that sort of bangs a Christian drum. And the question is, all these laws that are being passed and these things that are being executed, do they bring on misery? God's not interested in national self-interest and in national pride and all those other kind of things that politicians are interested in. God looks at the poor and says, what is this doing for the poor? God is the God not on the side of the wealthy and the powerful and the mighty. He is the God who defends the fatherless and the widow. And he asks questions of the political establishment. And as Christians, we need to align with him, not with the political establishment. And so it's a challenge to people in the West. And in South Africa, where we've seen corruption slowly permeate so much of society, although the laws are supposedly there to help the fatherless and the widow and the weak, so often corruption ends up leveraging the situation to the advantage of those that have. And one thinks of the stories of people taking pensions to pay out and then wanting a kickback in order to give the pensioner their pension, because corruption is just so rife. That's what people do. And we've got to say, as Christians, we stand against it. God is on the side of the widows and the fatherless. He doesn't accept bribes. He shows no partiality. He looks at whether decrees bring on misery or not. And verse 23 ends up, "He will repay them for their sins and destroy them for their wickedness. The Lord our God will destroy them." And we need to remember that all those that stand against God will lose eventually. God will see that his purposes will succeed. So for us, in the midst of a world of suffering and all sorts of complexities, that is a great encouragement. Be blessed.